براش مهمه. واقعا چجوری شما توی کارمنداتون انگیزه ایجاد میکنید که بهتر و با کیفیت بالاتر؟
The question is what motivates. To me, you have to motivate the people who work under you. They have to feel that they are part of the place. They have to take pride. Anywhere you work, if the people working there don't take pride in what they are doing, they shouldn't be there. And I used to tell them, don't be here just because you can't find a better job or can't find somebody, I'm giving you more than anybody else. People shouldn't stay at the place because it's the best salary they're getting, or because they should stay at the place because they love that place. They enjoy going to work. And I used to tell them, if you don't enjoy coming to work, you shouldn't come to work. Because the more you are spending 8 to 10 hours of your life here, you sleep another 8, you are in traffic another 2 hours. You're really at home. You spend majority of your time in this office. So if you're not having fun and you're not motivated to come to this office, you shouldn't come. So even for your health, if you're working at a place that you're not enjoying and you're not motivated, and every day you feel miserable going to work, please change that work. Don't stay there. It's not made for you. You're not going to succeed there. And even if you succeed, you're not going to be a happy person. So find a job that motivates you. And if you feel that your manager doesn't appreciate you, try to change that. It's in your control. You are a hard worker. You know what you want. You will get where you want. But be motivated to go, and the managers have a duty to motivate their staff. If they put them down, to me that's not a good manager. And as an owner, obviously you want your company succeed, so you will remove those managers. The unfortunate thing is when you are working in an institution, that there are thousands and thousands of people working. Sometimes hard work may go unseen. Sometimes good work may not be recognized. But I believe that if you're a hard worker, if you are doing a good job, by time people will recognize that. Your manager may be gone, or if it is really you have a conflict with that person, you will not be the only one. Everybody else would have that problem. So it will come to the surface. But if you are the only one who has that problem with that manager, you may want to look within and see why do you have an issue with this manager and nobody else has that issue. And you may want to resolve that.
به عنوان آخرین سوال قبل از اینکه اجازه بدیم که حضار هم سوالای خودشون رو بپرسن، میخواستم در مورد این عکس یکم توضیح بدید. این آمار 2018 هست، Women Studying Engineering in Canada. در واقع حدود 20 تا 23% دانشجوی مهندسی خانوم هستند و اکثرشون هم اتفاقاً حالا from Asian descent، یعنی از میدل ایست و ساوت ایژیا و ایست ایژیا میان. خود امریکا، یعنی اونایی که یکی دو نسل اینجا تو امریکای شمالی بزرگ شدن خیلی درست سراغ انجینیرینگ نمیرن، مهندسی. میخواستم که در این مورد صحبت کنید و چالش هایی که خانم ها در رشته مهندسی دارن. آخرین سوال، بعدش هم حضار میتونن تشریف بیارن پودیوم اینجا و پشت میکروفون سوالش.
One of the big challenges that North America has got in Eastern Europe, Iran, Middle East, most of Asia, having women in engineering is not an issue. In North America, it's a big issue. Women don't go to STEM programs. Actually, the numbers have gone up. It was around 20% in 2017. Last year got more, and it is because the amount of immigrants that have come, and now it's just the results are coming out that there are more. And this number is just people who are graduating. When you go to workforce in engineering, is around 13 to 14%. So there's a big drop from graduation to the workforce. And the problem is a number of issues. One is, I don't believe the work environment is that acceptable to women. We don't create environment for women to feel comfortable or welcome. In North America, if you go to construction site, you're not welcome. But you have to go there if you want to change the environment. With the computer science, it's increasing, but most companies have a challenge to increase that number, to bring it up. They have quotas. I was checking, for example, Google, Facebook, those are around 30% now. 1/3 are female. But they're working hard at it. They are really trying to bring more women into the workforce. The best thing that happened, I think, to women over the past number of years was the Me Too movement. I think Me Too movement was the best thing. Not only for women, also for men, because it made us to talk about our challenges in the workplace. Still, the locker room talks are there. Men do make comment about women. If you dress differently, they still make a comment. They are still very cognizant of gender differences in the workforce. So that has to be changed. And that's one of the things that I am trying, and I'm just doing a very, very small part of a bigger issue to change. That whole gender equality needs to be overcome in this STEM program. Again, as I mentioned earlier, because of the fourth industrial revolution, because if the women don't get to these programs and don't get to the workforce, they will be left further behind. And there are a number of challenges also for women, not only going to the engineering program, even succeeding as leaders. Their biggest problem is when they take leave for having children. The women have always been the person who takes the parental leave. Canada has changed the requirement. Now there are 18 months that are given to parental leave, but from the amount that is given, 85% of people who take that 18-month parental leave are women. Women feel an obligation that they have to take time off for their children. And I do respect that, and it is good. But I think men have to carry some of that load as well. If the woman takes 12 months, I think women should take the men should take 6 months, and the woman will take 12. The total would be 18 months. But if the men don't take that, so that stereotype when you go for an interview in an engineering job, because engineering work changes all the time. In the subconscious of the person who's interviewing is, when is that person going to leave for her first child? When is she going to leave for the second child? Now, if the men start taking parental leave, that subconscious stereotyping will be diminishing. So they're not going to think that way, because the same chance that she's going to take it, he's going to take it too. So now we are on the same level field. So we're applying for the same job, just give it to the brightest and the best. Doesn't matter what gender we are. So you will get more women. But women feel that when they go to the engineering, it's not a welcoming program. And we have to change that. And quite rightly, because it hasn't been a very welcoming environment. I have seen it, I've been through it, and hopefully it is changing, and it has changed. It's not the same. I'll tell you a story. There was a winter day, I went to do an inspection of a crane. It was minus 35. It was really cold. The whole construction site was shut down. There were only a few workers working. I put my overall, went all the way up to the crane, did my inspection, came down, and this old man called me and said, "Miss, can I talk to you for a second?" I said, "Yes." He said, and he meant well. He said, "Why don't you learn typing? If you know how to type, you don't have to do this hard work. You can stay in the office." And I said, "You know, I do understand that you care for me, but I love my job." And I left. And it was just because he felt a woman's place was not in the construction site. A woman's place was not being there in minus 30 inspecting cranes. She should stay in the office. And that is the message they pass to their children. That mindset has to change, and it's the parents that are not encouraging. The fact that I went to this area of practice because I had a very strong mother and father. Most Iranian parents are very strong. They really encourage their women and young children and girls to go in the male-dominated practice areas because my mother didn't want me to be like her. My mother didn't want me to ask my husband for money. She wanted me to be independent, and most generation of my mother were the same. Didn't matter how good their husband was. They still were giving money. It wasn't considered that it is part of their living. It was they were doing a favor, or it was just being a nice person. So that whole issue of independence for women and getting into male-dominated area of practice comes from childhood, from the parents, and hopefully that is changing, and there will be more women. And that's why I wanted the school to be named after a woman, because hopefully it's a strong message, and we will have an equal society. So our women, especially coming from Iran, for us, for women from Iran, for us it means a lot to be equal. We work hard for it. We are still working hard for it. We didn't get it easy. And we're not going to give it up. And you can see the struggle going on constantly. The women cannot sit idle and let time go by. And I always tell my children, my daughters, that the freedom as women we have today was not, even in North America, just till quite recently. Women couldn't own properties. Women couldn't vote. Women had no rights. Still politicians get elected because they're saying a woman have no power over their own body and they can decide what they want to do with their own body. They feel that the woman's place is home rather than workforce. So these are the politicians trying to encourage that. So I don't want my children to grow up and go back. We take 2 steps forward and 1 step backward. I want the women to constantly be there, be equal, because they're as bright as men. I'm very passionate about this issue because I think we belong to any place that the men do, and we're not going to give it up.
مرسی جینا. اگه اجازه بدین از دوستانم سوال بپرسن که یه مقدار دو طرفه باشه. ضمن تشکر از آقای تهرانی، دست براشون بزنید. چون خانم جینا کودی اهل چالش و چالش هستن، سوالایی که می‌پرسید لطفاً چالشی باشه. We'll ask challenging questions.
Yeah, I always say, if you don't ask me question, they won't invite me back.
و سوالات رو اگر ممکن است تو 30 ثانیه 40 ثانیه محدود کنید که تعداد سوال بیشتری بپرسید. می‌خوام جینا شما جوابا رو اگه محدود بکنید که تعداد سوال بیشتری بپرسید.
It depends. If they don't have question, I have to take one and take all time.
آقای فروزی قبلا وقتی دوستانی که راحتاً میتونن بیان اینجا سوال کنن، ولی چون سالن خلوت هست هر جا من بلند صحبت بکنید صدا میرسه. بفرمایید. هر جور راحت.
خیلی خوشبختم دکتر کدی. واقعا خیلی excited هستم. I'm so excited to see you, especially after when I heard about your interview on CBC a few months ago. By accident, really. I was just, you know, my CBC is always on. So I was so lucky to hear your words. Especially, you mentioned something on that day. It was very emotional. And you mentioned it today also. And it's so connected to what I do, helping people with in transition and work and studies. Women, men, all population. And you said vulnerability is an asset, something like that. And that day in CBC, you said almost something like that. And it really, I took it very interesting, especially in our new immigration, you know, community. It was such an asset that you come and talk about all this like today, thanks to Mohandes and SUTA. But it's so rare, and we are just developing that. You as a community leader, really, you know, involved into all this. Do you, so because of, you mentioned, you know, challenging you a little bit.
Short
What
challenge.
are you thinking of developing some, getting into more involved into mentorship and connecting to some people like me and the community who are helping new immigrants, professional, non-professional, youth or non-youth. What are your plans? Merci. Thank you.
I have, first of all, I think mentorship is the most important thing. All through my life, I had mentors. You all need mentors. Who is a mentor? A mentor is a person that you can go to and ask questions. So now, actually, there are a lot of programs that are being involved. Like, I believe what I am doing, I'm constantly giving talks. There's not even 1 week that goes I don't have a speaking engagement. And when I go to one place and another place wants me, and it's all about issues of how to make the world a better place. Because things that I am very passionate about is inclusion, diversity, and equality. These are the three things, the three pillars that I'm fighting for. And that all applies to every immigrant, whether you're Iranian or not. And the mentorship, I think you have to create a forum to have that happen. And it wouldn't be, you know, I'm doing my portion. If, you know, how you're going to organize it, I haven't figured it out. It's something you guys have to figure out. But I believe that everybody needs to find mentors. And maybe through leadership programs. I know like Persian Women in Tech, they are trying to do that. There are other, but I think through SUTA, Mohandes, Fani, I think you guys should, your programs have, I'm not active at your associations, but these associations have to come out of just being a forum for Nowruz and Yalda, and you know, it shouldn't be just a forum for, and I'm sure you guys are doing other things, but I think the mentorship program would be the most important thing that you can deliver, and it should be delivered to all community. It has to be an open door, and maybe we need a place, you know, somewhere that people can go through social media, with their blogs. You can get mentors. It's a community that has to evolve, and I think we are talking about it. The first step to talk about it, and the second step is the action.
مرسی. سوال؟ بعد آقای دکتر بوبایی.
Thank you for your speech and all of the suggestions and recommendations. That was great. I want to ask you about some of the hints for the balance of life and work. You know, as an engineer who is working and having 2 daughters, that's what I'm struggling sometimes. You know, I like to be successful. I like to be proactive, but on the other side, I have my daughter. She's 7 years old, so she needs me at the school.
I like to be involved in the school. I like to support her with the courses. So I really like to hear from you how did you, like deal with that, especially at the earlier ages, when as an immigrants we don't have that many support of our families yet. So I really like to hear.
Yes, actually, it's interesting that every talk that I give to women, that question gets always asked. That's the first question in every woman's mind. How do I balance life and work? The first important thing, balancing life and work, it takes a lot of sacrifice. I used to have projects in Victoria, BC and Calgary when my kids were very young. I would fly early in the morning because I have to change the hour, have my meetings, take all-night flight back home. So I would get the red eye, and then I'd be home before the kids would wake up. So they didn't even know the mommy was gone the night before. I married the right person. He really helped. Without Tom's help, I couldn't have succeeded. So I think the husband has to, the partner, whether it's a male or female, has to take the same level, because the progress of both partners are important. It shouldn't be that women have to sacrifice for their husbands all the time. If you have a profession, I think it should be balanced, and you need help. And then if you can afford it, you have to hire someone to help you. If you are in a profession that you can, it's a good thing to do that. Unfortunately, a lot of people, if you have grandparents, parents to help, but as immigrants, we don't have that. We don't have that luxury, most of us.
متشکرم. جناب دکتر بابایی. سوالا متاسفانه چالنجینگ و چالش برانگیز نیست. بعد از آقای دکتر بابایی من این سوال چالشی میپرسم.
من البته عضو هیئت علمی هستم، فکر کنم بعد از شماست، بعد از انقلاب، البته در دیپارتمان شیمی. در منابع خیلی بحث میشه که معمولا کارهای بزرگ رو یا در سیویل انجینیرینگ ساختمان‌های آنچنانی رو هیچ وقت شاگرد اولا درست نکردن، بلکه دانشجویی که متوسط بودن در واقع عمل کردن. میخوام ببینم که موقع شما دانشجو بودید در چه ترازی بودید و دوم، حالا که موفق هستید و منم تبریک میگم و خیلی خوشحالم به عنوان دانشجوی من نبودید ولی میتونم براساس افتخار کنم به عنوان دانشجوی دانشگاه صنعت شریف. چه ویژگی بوده که شما را در واقع موفق کرده در شما، یعنی یه ویژگی خاص بوده و یا حداقل به ما بگیم که چجوری شروع کردید کار را، چون برای اونایی که مهاجرن همیشه این سوال مطرحه که کار را از کجا شروع بکنه. خیلی ممنون.
من همیشه توی I got to university when I was 16. I skipped grade 8. I studied grade 8 at home during summer. So during my high school, I was always شاگرد اول. Honestly, I was شاگرد اول. At university, the challenge is very hard because they are all شاگرد اول, especially when you went to Sharif at the time. Everybody, classmate was شاگرد اول, so it was very
نمره شیمیتون اعلام میکنید دانشگاه نمره شیمیتون چقدر؟
یادم نیست راستش. I'm gonna go check for you. وقتی رسیدم خونه نگاه میکنم. بگم 14-15 بود.
چون مهمترین درس به نظر
قبل از اینکه به سوال بعدی برسیم، خانم جینا، توی کامیونیتی خیلی این صحبت میشه که چرا خانم کودی 15 میلیون دلار رو به دانشگاه توی کانادا اهدا کردن. این رو میتونستن به دانشگاه شریف برای دانشجویان ایرانی اهدا کنن، یا توی همین کامیونیتی سازمان‌هایی هستن که برای نیوکامرها کار میکنن، برای نیوگردهای ایرانی کار میکنن. چرا شما این پول رو به کنکوردیا هدیه کردید؟
I'm glad you asked that question because it's in the mind of many people, and I think another person should give another $15 million for students who are here. And I challenge another Iranian to send another $15 million to Sharif in Iran. I did it for the Iranians in Canada. I did it for immigrants in Canada. I did it for women in Canada. If I believe in equality, inclusion, and diversity, how can I segregate the fund and send it to just one small group in Iran removed from where gave me my start, from the place that really supported me. I came from Iran and I had $2,000 and that's it. I never got a penny from my parents after that, and I supported myself and I got my PhD. So what I gave back to the university is for students like me. I want so many others like me to be able to get that money because they're bright, because they're good students, and they can succeed. And my challenge to them is, do give back. Don't forget where you come from. And I believe our community has to get stronger. We have to get together. One of the challenges now we have, and I have got calls from the university in Montreal, some of our students can't pay their tuition now. And they are graduating, but because they haven't had the funds to pay their tuitions, they're not giving them their degrees. And I believe something has to be done about that. We have to, as a society, as a community, because the dollar is so expensive to send for these students. So I challenge the community to come up with a solution, that we create a fund, we create a way that we can get our community succeed, provided that they make a challenge to themselves that they will be there for the next generation. I did it for next generation.
من این جواب رو برای اون دوستان خواهم فرستاد.
مرسی.
اول می‌خواستم تشکر کنم چون برای خودم حقیقتا خیلی مهم بود که ببینمتون. وقتی زندگی نامتون رو خوندم بسیار برام الهام بخش بود و با حضورتون این حس تقویت شد. سوال یا کنجکاوی کوچیک که دارم این که تو اون جلسه‌ای که گفتید در واقع زندگیتون از اون به بعد تغییر کرد، چه ویژگی در شما استادتون؟ احتمالاً این سوال باید استادتون جواب بده، ولی به نظر خودتون
Unfortunately, he's passed away. I would ask him now. I never thought of it.
ولی فکر کنید واقعا چی، یعنی یک چیزی در شما دیدن که از اون به بعد در واقع تصمیم گرفتن با شما کار کنن و زندگی شما تغییر کرد. برای خودم خیلی جالب بود اون جلسه رو تصور کردم و گفتم واقعا شما چی بهشون گفتین که این اعتماد رو به شما کردن و تمام تلاشایی که شما در ادامه داشتین در واقع شاید پاسخی به اون اعتماد بوده. ممنونم.
That's a challenging one.
شاید بهشون گفتیم میخوایم براشون قرمه سبز درست کنیم.
I honestly don't even remember what the discussion was during that meeting. I think I had good marks, even though my shimi may not have been as good as it should have been, but I had good marks, and I maybe because I was a woman from Iran and I came all by myself, and I was 22 years old, he felt that, hey, if she can do this. I tell you a story which I think I said it on CBC, for those of you who may have listened to my interviews on CBC. It was, a woman came for I had a job in the newspaper in Toronto Star, and this woman showed up, she was 7 months pregnant, it was big, and she comes for an interview. And I called her, I said, you're going to have a baby soon, don't you? She says, yeah, I'm 7 months pregnant. I said, so why are you coming for an interview? She said, I want this job. And I said, you have this job. Can you start tomorrow morning? And she started tomorrow morning. Because to me, the person who comes to an interview when 7 months pregnant, that person has a lot of guts and a lot of encouragement and stamina. She deserves the job. So I think maybe, because I was a little girl and a woman and I have to tell you another story. When I was young, my dad had a boys' high school. So in the summer, he would ask me to do the summer courses for these kids. I went to university when I was 16 myself, and these kids were ages of 14 to 16, you know, the last year of high school. And I was maybe a year or two older than them, and I was teaching them. But he would sit at the back of the class, so the boys would, and he used to tell me, if you can manage these boys, you can manage anyone. So I think I was brought up to be really standing on my own 2 feet, and that was one of the challenges that I had. He would make me do public speaking. I won the first prize in Iran for, we used to have مسابقه déclamé, and those of you that are older, they remember we used to do déclamé in Iran. So I won the first prize in Iran for public speaking. And I was given a Caspian at the time, you know, like they send you for a week to Caspian, and that was the first time I ever got a prize for myself. But public speaking is extremely important, because if you are comfortable, you can speak your mind. And those are the things that makes a person to become who they become.
How many questions do you have here? 1, 2, 3.
I think Firuza had some.
She already asked my question.
اگه سلام می‌دونستم جواب
نه ما یه سوال پرسیدیم که نشد.
من یادم نمیاد سوال چی بود؟ شما یادتون
اینکه
میاد؟
چجوری از کجا استارت زدن؟
Oh, okay, yes. I came to Ministry of Housing and I was working. So then I was offered just as a simple engineer. I got a job as an engineer in an engineering company. I started taking all the work and I was working hard. So the guy who was my boss, my first boss, who was my mentor, he was retiring. So he would panic when and that company, I tell you something, that company, the biggest revenue they had was $200,000, and it was a small company, very small. They had 4 people working, and they hired me. I was a young engineer, and I started doing all the work, and he would panic. When we would get 5 jobs, he would panic, and I would say, and his name was Joe Stanford, he's passed away now. I said, Joe, why are you worried? He says, we can't manage. I said, I will manage, I help you. I'm here, we work hard, we will. Within a year, our revenue went from 200,000 to $1 million. Within 1 year. Because the jobs were there, they just couldn't do it. They didn't know how to handle it, so we hired a couple more draftsmen. I would work late at night, and we had 2 other engineers working. But because I was the one that stayed late at night and coming first thing, later on when he left, they said, do you want to buy his shares? So I bought the shares of that company, which was a small. And this company was owned by a bigger company. And then they had another division that wasn't doing well. They said, Gina, can you help managing? I said, yes. I started working and helping and learning about that area of practice. And then people were leaving because they were impatient. They wanted more, they wanted more salaries. So I would buy everybody's shares as they were leaving. So gradually, I became also the major shareholder of that company. Then the other ones were not, any division that wasn't doing well, they would dump it on me. And I would take it over, turn it around, and then when the main shareholder wanted to leave, I bought all of it. All of a sudden, I became the sole owner. But we started with 20 shares. There were numerous shareholders. They all left. Because I was persistent. We went through recession in the 90s. There was a month that our revenue was less than our payroll. At that year, I didn't take any pay home. I was lucky I had a husband who could support me. But the fact was that I stuck with the company. Those who left because they thought they could make more money somewhere else, I think they lost a chance. I was loyal, I stayed, I worked hard, and I think if you are in any, and I have seen a number of friends, Iranian friends, who have succeeded because they stayed where they were and they worked hard. They were loyal to where they were working, and time will pay back. Just be patient. And that was for me. It worked for me.
متشکرم.
سلام خانم کدی، من اماد هستم از جامعه سوتا. خیلی ممنون، خوشبختم که شما رو اینجا میبینم و باعث افتخار منه. با شناختی که ما از خانم جینا کدی پیدا کردیم متوجه شدیم خانم سخت‌کوشی هستن و با اراده. چه چیزی متقاعد کرد خانم کدی رو که ریتایر بشه؟ فکر نمی‌کنم که هنوز خانم کدی توانایی مدیریت و حتی مهندسی شرکت‌های زیادی رو داشته باشه.
من معتقدم که در زندگی 3 فصل هست. I strongly believe that we have 3 chapters in our lives. The first chapter is when we are born. We go to school, we go to high school, university. Everybody feeds you, everybody helps you, everybody gives you everything. You are just absorbing and using everybody else's efforts, your parents' efforts, your teachers' efforts, your mentors' efforts. So that is your first chapter. Then you go to your second chapter, and I call that chapter a me chapter. It's all about me, my home, my job, my company, my children, my money, my vacation. Everything is about me. The third chapter is giving back. And I would have been extremely unhappy with myself if I had died while working and never had the chance to give back to the society that made me who I became. I didn't want to just to be about me and me taking away. So when is the time for me to give back? So that was the main issue for me, to retire and do something for the society as a whole. Thank you, and I genuinely believe in that. So I do a lot of public speaking. I have made the donation to students, and that's the best way. I thought my success came through that. So I thought I want that Olgu to be repeated for the others. Other people may receive their success through other ways. That's the way I knew. That's the way that worked for me. It may not be the only way, and it is not the only way, but that's the only way I knew to do. I also sit on a number of public companies. I do a lot of mentoring. So I have a lot of, actually, sometimes my husband says that, Gina, your calendar, and I do miss things now. Because like, I look at my calendar, it's full. And I'm getting booking for next February 2020, next September 2020. I'm booking now events that far off because it's filling up. So, and what I'm trying, twofold. One is, if you go to the society now, whether it's Quebec, whether it is rural Canada, don't just think about Toronto and GTA, if you look around the world, immigrants are not welcome. We're not well liked. People don't want us. They, you know, the American president just said we are full. We don't need any more immigrants. I want us. I want to challenge the other immigrants to do similar things, to show this society that we are contributors. We are part of this society, and we're good people. We just don't think about ourselves. We want to give back. And I think that is paving the road for the next generation of immigrants coming. So I have always said I'm Iranian. I am proud of being Iranian, and I want everybody to know I am Iranian because that is who I am. And I think Iranians should be respected for who we are, especially in the whole era of Islamophobia. People are blaming us for something that an idiot did somewhere else and has nothing to do with us. You know, just because my parents are Muslim doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It just has nothing, religion, ethnicity, these are issues that are totally irrelevant. What's in my brain matters, not what I put over my head. So and our society, even the Canadian society, you're talking about dress code, that women or men can not put yarmulke on, or they cannot have hijab in Quebec. So what's the difference with the other side of the world that they say what you should wear? And here we are saying what you cannot wear, or what you should. So I think I want to change that.
مرسی.
اگه ممکنه سوالم من همجا بپرسم.
بلندتر میشه بلند.
خیلی خوشحالم که اینجا هستم، باهاتون آشنا شدم. من خب 4 ماه بیشتر نیست که اینجا هستم. سوالی که دارم اینه که حالا من خب خودم لاکی میدونم که الان سر کار هستم، یه جایی کار تونستم بگیرم، ولی تو صحبتاتون که دقت کردم ایگو رو به عنوان یه موردی گفتین که خب مثلا داشتنش خوب نیست و باعث در واقع شاید موفق نبودن تو کار باشه. دوست دارم مشخصا بدونم که برای کسایی که نیوکامر هستن، دنبال یه در واقع جاب هستن، یا تو لول بعدی میخوان جابشون رو حفظ کنن، تو لول بعدی میخوان پروموت بشن تو اون جابی که دارن، اون چیزی که معمولا حالا برای مثلا ایمیگرنت ها یه مانع هست، یعنی اون حالا چیزی که از فرهنگشون میارن، یا به خاطر اینه که حالا یا به خاطر توانایی هاشون هست، یا عدم اون توانایی خاصی که دارن. خب اینا اون چیه که حالا یا به خاطر میگم حالا یا ایرانی بودنشونه، یا کلا یه چیز جنرال بینه، اون چیه که باعث میشه که مانع جدیه که میگم که یا یه شغلی رو بتونن بگیرن، چون شما خودتونم به هر حال امپلویر بودین، از اون جهت دارم میگم که اون دیدی که داشتین، یا اینکه بتونن تو شغلشون در واقع پیشرفت کنن یا شغلشون رو حفظ کنن.
متشکرم.
I'm not sure what exactly the question was. For a new immigrant who comes, I think hard work, and I have said that many times, and I always say that. When they say what is the road to success, I will always say hard work. I would suggest for you that I don't know what area of practice you are. What do you?
Computer science.
So yours is the most exciting work that you can be at. You are in full demand. When we talk about work, we say jobs without people applying and people applying without jobs. You are in a job workforce that there are not that many competition, but you need to keep up. You need to take courses. You need to constantly improve because computer science is constantly developing. If you can take online courses at night, something that puts you ahead of your colleague is because you know more than he does. And companies know that. In computer science, they realize when they give a coding to you, if it takes you 3 days to do that, and the other guy takes him a week, or it takes you 3 days and the other guy does it in 4 hours, you're gone because the other guy is faster. So you need to, it's your work that will speak. Really, your language, your accent doesn't matter. name doesn't matter, your color of skin doesn't matter. It's what you produce. You are in the best market. And that's why you got a job fast. And you will keep your job because you're good at it. And you will be a manager because you're good at it. I promise you.
خانم عباس شما سوال داشتید؟
یکی که سال من کرد.
اوکی. شما سوال داشتید؟ میشه بلند بپرسید؟
من میخواستم ببینم شما احتمالاً این پولی که به دست آوردین با کارمندی نبوده فعالیتا و این چالنجینگ ترین سوالی ممکنه اینجا هستش و میخواستم ببینم اگه سلف امپلوید بودین تو این دورانی که کار کردین اون جهش رو کی حس کردین که باید انجام بدین توی این پروسه کار کردن؟
Okay, that's a challenging one. Okay. My success came gradually. And something that I always say, the hard work will pay. It was through my work. It came gradually. I made money. One of the things that makes a company successful is how you organize your forces. Because there are companies that do the same job, and there are company that takes 200 hours to do that job, another company that does it in 20 hours. You both charge the same fees because you're competing on prices. But the delivery is the important thing. And how you can optimize that. I automated what we were doing. I was the first person who, at that time, every drafting was done by hand. The minute I got the company, we didn't even have AutoCAD at the time. So what I did, I created sheets of drawings, because a lot of drawings were repetitious. So we put them on milers, and the ones that they had to change, they never thought of that. It was very simple. So I had standardized drawings. So when we sent a package of 20 drawings, 15 of them were repetitious, but what were they doing? All the other companies, they were redrawing it. I had milered with empty spaces, so I would put in the name of the project and fill in the blanks. I automized our reporting. I automized the specifications. I automized, so our company was our margins were very healthy, and we were making good profits because we were automated and I knew how to use the staff. If you were good at something, you would do that work. And some companies don't do that. And in consulting, you can make good money.
متشکرم. آقای دکتر مالی.
Gina, thank you very much for the presentation. I really enjoyed it. And I have one question for you. You said that you were very lucky, very fortunate, and you have very, very good husband. So that's, I think, that should contribute to your success a lot. But I believe that not too many women are like you, maybe 1 in 1,000 like you. But still, you want to encourage women to be in engineering. I say, why we don't encourage women to be in law or to be in medicine? Because a lawyer in the downtown Toronto can make like easily $150,000 per month, or even per year, sorry. Or a doctor can make $150 per year. So, but a new engineer can make only maybe $60,000 per month, so per year. So why we should encourage women to take engineering for their future career?
Good question. First of all, I think the gender equity in law and medicine is already there. They don't need encouragement. There are many women in law and medicine. Both professions are great professions. My other daughter is going to be a lawyer in a month. But the reason I'm saying engineering and computer science, because the 4th industrial revolution, you watch it, very soon, many things, even medical profession now. Engineers are making the machines that runs that whole operating room. It's all done by engineers. And those engineers do make a lot of money. It's not all money either. There are engineers that start from low salaries, and those are the engineering field that we are used to, construction or, but when I'm talking, when you get into biomed, when you get into computer science, there's no way a lawyer can compete with them. Look at what's happening in the digital world. Those are the jobs. But the other thing is, if the women don't get into STEM as a general, they will have no other work. They can get